So, esteemed participants, good evening to all of you. Today we shall be talking about lag insect farming and its potential in entrepreneurship development. We all are very aware about the beneficial insects, and some of us are very aware about honeybee and sericulture. But lag insect farming is not that familiar to some of you, and we shall be talking about this. And when we will be talking about this lag insect farming, there is a great scope for entrepreneurship development as well in this. So when we talk about lag insect, it comes under non-wood forest produce, and mainly natural resin and gums is one of the better known category under this NWFP. And with the passage of time, energies, they are becoming familiar and also desirable, because back to the nature trend is there, and there is a sustained demand for natural resins and gums. They form an important source of livelihood and renewable source of material for human use. Similarly, if we say about origin of these energies.
Recording in progress.
Natural resins, gums and gum resins. There are three categories of energy normally. Natural resins, they are mainly compounds or chemicals which are not soluble in water, but can be dissolved in organic solvents. Similarly, gums, they are soluble in water but not in organic solvents. And gum resins, they have got both the properties. They are partially soluble in water as well as organic solvents also. And you can see the importance of natural resin and gums, that more than 50 million human days per year, they are generated as employment in this sector of energy. And showing you the importance of energy in export of our country, you can see the data of last 10 years. And we export around say more than 400,000 crores of rupees of energy to the different countries, and some import is also taking place, and about 3% of total energy, they constitute about 3% of the agriculture exports. So this means this is a very valuable commodity, and very good source of not only employment generation but also earning foreign exchange also. Then some of the major supplying sources or countries from where energies are obtained, and major demand destinations you can see in this graph, that France, Sudan and India. These are the three major countries which are the largest supplier of natural resin and gums. Similarly, if you can go for destination, means importing countries, India, France, and USA. These are the three largest countries which import energy in very large quantity. Coming to lag, India is the largest producer of lag in the world, and we produce around 18 to 20,000 tons of lag every year. And state-wise production, if we can say that most of the lag production is restricted to our northeastern part of our country, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. These are the two major states which are involved in lag cultivation and production, and about 75% of the total lag production comes from these two states only, and the remaining 25% comes from adjoining states like Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, Maharashtra, parts of Odisha, parts of Gujarat, and even to some extent some of the our northeastern states like Assam and Meghalaya also. They produce quantity of lag in some sort of, say, around 50 to 100 tons per year. So you can see here that about 60% of the total world production is contributed by our country, and out of that 75% is contributed by these two states only. But what happens that when we talk about production, the production is mainly restricted to the tribal belt. You can see here two maps of our country. The upper one shows this gray area. This is the tribal belt of our country, and this dark blue, this constitutes the lag growing region of our country. So this means most of the lag comes from the tribal belt of our country because it is confined to the forests. And in the lower map, you can see the lag growing areas where lag is still being cultivated. The area which is shown is in red. This is the major lag growing area, and the area which is shown in green, this is the minor lag growing area, but some sort of lag is produced in almost all the states which have tribal population. About 50 to 60 years back, lag was cultivated almost throughout the country, but because of changing weather and climatic conditions, now this has been confined to only those states where forest coverage is quite high and climate is mild in the sense. Then regarding importance of lag cultivation, you can see here that we conducted one survey to know the potential of lag in resource generation as well as income generation. And we found that in lag growing areas, 26% of the agricultural income comes from lag cultivation only. This means about 1/4 of the total agriculture income is contributed by lag. Another advantage of lag cultivation is that since it is cultivated on trees and it doesn't require irrigation, and sometimes when other crops fail, you get some income from lag cultivation. So sometimes people, they call it kind of insurance crop against drought conditions. So because of this, that is why these rain-fed conditions were prevail, and farmers who don't have irrigation facilities, they can go towards lag cultivation. And since most of the Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand, they have very meager facility of irrigation, that is why most of the farmers take only one crop in a year, that is paddy cultivation. And for the remaining 6 months, they remain without any work. So during that period, lag comes as a very handy crop for income generation. We conducted a survey, what is the potential of lag cultivation in our country. In this map, you can see that the area which has been marked as green, we found lag. So this means lag is available almost throughout the country. And the area which is shown in yellow, it is still to be surveyed. And there is every likelihood that lag will be available in most of the other parts of our country. And out of the 462 districts which we have surveyed till now, 65% of the districts, they have lag. So this means potential of lag exists. Only thing is that we have to take initiative and start cultivating lag also. Coming to lag, what lag insect is. We all know that lag is the only natural resin of animal origin, and it is produced by a specialized group of lag insects called lag insects. They belong to family Tecardidae, and it requires plant hosts, lag insects, for cultivation. So about more than 400 lag host plants have been reported so far, which bear lag, but all are not suitable for commercial production of lag, and about 30 of them, they are suitable for commercial production of lag. In total, out of the world, there has been reports of 9 genera and 101 species of lag insects. And there are mainly 2 types of lag insects. One we call true lag insects, and another we call pseudo lag insects. Basic difference between these 2 categories is that pseudo lag insects, they produce lag that is not soluble in alcohol, and that is why it is not usable for industrial purpose. So this means all lag insects which are pseudo lag insects, they are mainly considered as pests of the crop. But the true lag insects, mainly they produce lag which is soluble in alcohol and can be utilized for industrial purpose. That is why, depending upon the situation, you can call them pest as well as beneficial insects. If you are purposefully growing, then it is beneficial insect. But if it is affecting, say, other economically important host plants like mango, lychee, and other horticulturally important trees, then it becomes a pest. So this means Out of this 101 species, there are 26 species which have been reported from our country. Out of that, 5 are pseudo-like insects under one genera called Paratacardina, and 21 they belong to true-like insects under Carya genera. And out of these 21 species, only 3 are basically exploited for like cultivation. And the most normal like insect which is available in our country, it is Carya leca. And about say around 80 to 90% of lac comes from this species only. Then there are 2 other species. One is Carya chanensis. It is reported from our northeastern states like North Kachar hill districts of Assam as well as Meghalaya. And Carya sharada. It is mainly reported from the coastal regions of our country in West Bengal as well as Odisha and some parts of Tamil Nadu also. Then Paratacardina species, they do not produce true lac as I have already informed you. Then that is why they are considered as notorious pests of economically important plants like tea, sandalwood, and even lychee and mango also. But sometimes they are exploited as biocontrol agents for managing perennial weeds. So this means depending upon our requirement, we can utilize these pseudo-like insects also for our benefit. Then coming to host plants, as we are aware that more than 400 lakh host plants have been reported, but out of these only about 30 can be utilized for commercial production of lac, and out of those 30, these 4 are major lac host plants which give around 90% of the total lac produced in our country. One of them is called Slichera oleosa. Local language they call it kusum. Second one is Butea monosperma, and we all know it by the name of palash or dhak. Third one is Gigifus mauritiana, that is bear. And fourth one is a bushy host plant, it is Flamingia semilata, and it can be utilized for intensive lac cultivation. The farmers who don't have lac host plants but have land, if they want to cultivate lac, they can use this semilata, and just after 1 year of planting, it can be utilized for production of lac. Then those who are not aware about lac cultivation, how it is done, we have got 2 strains of lac insect. One is called Kusmi and another is called Rangini. Although they both belong to the same species of lac insect Carya leca, but Rangini lac insect mainly, it can be cultivated on Butea monosperma and some other host plants, but not on Slichera oleosa, that is kusum. Similarly, Kusmi can be grown on kusum and some other host plants, but not on Butea monosperma, that is palash. And some other basic difference between Rangini and Kusmi is that the quality of lac produced by Kusmi lac insect is considered much better in comparison to Rangini lac insect, and that is why it fetches better price. And second basic difference between these two is that this life duration, when the crop cycle, in Rangini lac insect, we get 2 crops in a year. One crop is of 4-month duration and another crop is of 8 months duration. Similarly, in case of Kusmi also, we get 2 crops, but duration of crops is almost equal, that is 6 months, 6 months. Then current usage of existing resource trees. We know that India has around 23% of its land covered by forests, and among these forests, there is a record of around 621 million lakh host trees, mainly Palash, Pear and Kusum. And out of these trees, if we say leave 33% in reserve areas, around 207 million, then number of available of lakh host trees per annum in million is around 67 million. But still we are not using the full this potential of these trees, and we are using only around 22% of the total available lakh host trees. So this means if we are producing around 20,000 tons just by using 22% of our total available lakh host plants, if we start using all the host plants, we can increase our this production of more than 50,000 tons. And similarly, employment generation, you can see here, that 50 million man days are generated every year on the currently used trees. But if we start using all the host trees, this potential goes up to 207 million man days. So this means huge potential exists not only for income generation, but also employment opportunities for those who don't have other opportunities in the areas. Then coming to opportunities as agripreneur, how lakh farming can be utilized as to become an agripreneur. I will be giving you some statistics of income generated by lakh cultivation on these 4 major host lands. If you start cultivating lakh on Palash, normally spacing is 3.6 meter by 3.6 meters and Bear 4 by 4 meters for Rangini. Then Kusum by 12 meter by 12 meter and Semilata around 1 meter by 1 meter distance we are plant. So you can see here that the net income we generate from lakh cultivation from single tree. If you use Palash, it is around 700 rupees, Bear 2,500 rupees. If you start cultivating Kusmi, then it is more than 3,300 rupees. On Kusum, you from a single Kusum, you can get 16,000 rupees by lakh cultivation. And Semilata also gives you around 150 rupees. And in terms of per hectare, if you go for, you can see here that for Palash per hectare, income is around more than 80,000. For Bear Rangini, more than 1.5 lakhs. For Bear Kusmi, 1.8 lakhs. For Kusum, 5.8 lakhs. And for Semilata, 4.7 to 5.7 lakhs per hectare. So this kind of income generation you will not find in any other crop except some ornamental plants or horticulture crops. So this means lakh cultivation has got huge potential, provided we do it through scientific method of cultivation. Similarly, employment generation, if we talk about say 100 trees, if you are taking, we generate around 269 man days per hectare for Palash, 776 for Bear, 529 for Kusum trees. So this means there is a potential of employment generation also. Then women empowerment through lakh cultivation also. If you start cultivating lakh on Flamingia semilata, this is the bushy host plant and it is spreading like a wildfire. It is becoming very popular among the farmers of eastern part of our country. And basic advantage of using this Flamingia semilata is that, number one, you don't have to climb up on the tree. So all operations can be done from the ground level. That is why even women can do cultivation. Similarly, just in a kitchen garden like of things, if you have place for say around 100 plants only, still you can get around 5,000 rupees per season from cultivation of this. So that is why this semilata is becoming very popular. Then there are other host plants which can be utilized for dual purpose. One among them is Cajanus cajan. We call it pigeon pea or arhar. Normally it is cultivated for the pulse, but in those areas where climate is suitable, you can utilize it for lakh cultivation also. And the basic advantage of using Cajanus cajan for lakh cultivation is that if you don't get pulse from the plant, you will get lakh, or if vice versa. If you don't get lakh, at least you will get pulse from that. So by using this Cajanus cajan for lakh cultivation, what we found that more than 20% extra income you can generate from the same piece of land where you were cultivating Cajanus cajan for pulse purpose only. And another finding was that although there was a reduction in pulse production, about 13% reduction was there, but the reduction from financial point of view, you get extra income to the extent that you get much more benefit than taking a sole crop from the Cajanus cajan. Then there is another ornamental plant. It is called Caliandra calothyrsus. It is available on the roadsides in almost all the states. You will find it, and in parks and also other areas where ornamental plants are there. And this plant also, just like Semilata, it can be we can start using this plant after 2 years of planting. And it is very good host plant, not only for Caria leca, but for Caria chinensis also. So this means this plant can be utilized for 2 species of lac cultivation. And if you have got irrigation facilities, then you can be utilized for summer season crop also. And when we talk about the brood-lac ratio, normally what we use for yield point of view, if you use 1 kg of lac, you can get 8 kg of lac. So this means 8 times lac you can get from the basic input what you are giving to it. And nowadays the cost of price of lac is around 400 rupees per kg. So this means even if you get 2 kg from one plant, you will be getting around 800 rupees from a single plant. Similarly, there is another ornamental plant. It is called Malva viscus penduliflorum. This is also ornamental plant. And this also can be utilized for lac cultivation under irrigated conditions. And if you have got mild climatic conditions there. Then our institute has developed lac integrated cropping systems. If you are not, say, interested in only lac cultivation, you can integrate lac cultivation with general agriculture also. And this Flaminia semilata, it can be integrated with the vegetable cultivation, horticulture crops, and in some other parts, even with other crops also. And the basic advantage of integrated system is that since Flaminia semilata, it is a legume crop, so your nitrogen in the soil is improved, and you don't have to take any extra efforts for doing lac cultivation. Same facilities which you are using for raising other crops, they will be sufficient to grow lac. And by utilizing this lac integrated cropping system, the winter season brinjal, when you are integrating it with the vegetables, you can get a income of around more than 4 lakh per hectare. So this is a very good model, and farmers in Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh particularly, they are using it, and it has become very popular. You can see here the popularity of this semilata, how it has grown over a period of time. When initially it was introduced in 2005 or 6, in 2009 only 54 hectares were there, and within 7 or 8 years this increased to almost 10 times to 500 hectares. And the basic advantage of this using is that we get around 12 quintal lac yield from single hectare on this plant, and 102 million rupees this has been generated every year from this 425 hectare of land. So this means farmers are getting additional income by using this semilata plant. Similarly, another basic technology which we have developed is Kusmi breed cultivation on bear. Normally what happens, bear is mainly utilized for Rangini lac cultivation, but what happened because of this change in climatic conditions, Rangini lac insect was adversely affected, and this production of Kusmi lac, which was about 80% of our total lac production, it came down to 20% of total lac production. So what we developed, that we started lac cultivating, Kusmi lac cultivation on bear, and what it did, now we are producing 80% of Kusmi lac and 20% of Rangini. So two major advantages of this technology are that number one, Kusmi lac, because it is better in quality, it fetches better price, and second, its productivity is also high in comparison to Rangini. So you get higher yield and higher income also. And from this, by using this technology, farmers, they have been, this income has been enhanced from 155 rupees to 180 rupees per kg. This means you are getting 25 to 30 rupees extra income by growing Kusmi lac on Bear rather than Rangini lac. Then some of the success stories I would like to bring before you, that this farmer, Shaktidhar Koiri, so he is acting as a coordinator among the different farmers, and he has developed a network of about 3,000 tribal families, and they are producing about 3,000 quintals of lac every year, and more than 100 farmers which they were existing as subsistence, now they are earning more than 1 lakh rupees per year by utilizing this lac cultivation. Then similarly, there is another farmer, he is Milan Singh Vishwakarma, he is from Chhattisgarh, and he has also developed a network of about 200 farmers, and every year they are producing lac of more than 30 lakhs. So this means farmers, if they are using scientific method of lac cultivation, they can use lac cultivation for enhancing their income. And we have found that if you want to double the income of farmers, allied activities like lac cultivation, they can play a very important role in enhancing the income of the farmers. Then some of the other important things which are utilized with the lac cultivation and can be used to become agripreneur is that some of the fungi which are associated with lac, they can be utilized as biocontrol agents to control the pests of other crops. So you can see here that Euglena amabilis, it is a major predator of lac, and it causes around 20 to 40% damage to the crop, but it is affected by a fungi normally we use for biocontrol as biocontrol agent, Beauveria bassiana. And we separated one fungi called Eisseria fumisorosea from this Euglena amabilis, and this we have found it has got great potential as biocontrol agent in controlling or managing the very important pests like diamond black moth, Rutella gyrostella, Russian wheat aphid, and similarly silver leaf whitefly also. And some of the mites also they can be controlled by using this biocontrol agent. So if you are truly want to involve in the lac cultivation, you can utilize this aspect also. Then what is the benefit of lac cultivation? It provides ecosystem services also. Now there is a lot of talk about this carbon sequestration. So total carbon stock accumulation through major lac host trees, Bear, Palash and Kusum, it is more than 188 quintals or 18 tons per hectare. This means you are sequestering 18 tons of carbon dioxide by using these host plants. So this means instead of contributing towards carbon utsarjan in this climate, actually you are utilizing carbon dioxide and helping in amelioration of the climatic conditions. Similarly, lac insects, since we are cultivating lac on forest trees, so farmers, they don't cut the trees for timber purpose or for fuel purpose, and indirectly the lac insects, they help in conservation of the forests also. Then with lac insect, there are several other parasites, predators and fungi associated. 22 lac predators, 30 primary parasites, 45 secondary parasites, they are involved in lac cultivation. So this means if you are cultivating lac, you are indirectly conserving these number of insects which are associated with lac cultivation and are not found in other crops. So this was about lac cultivation, how we do lac cultivation, how and it can be utilized for income generation. So those who are interested in knowing more, we have also developed one mobile app. It is called Lakh Ka Doctor, and it can be downloaded from the Google Play Store, and you can get the other information which has not been covered by me in this lecture. So then coming to opportunities as entrepreneurs. After lac is harvested, what are the different uses and how you can use it to become entrepreneur? So for that purpose, I would like to show this slide. What are the application areas and uses of lac? Lac is utilized in almost all the fields which we know. Electrical industry, pharmaceutical and leather industry, then varnish and paints, cosmetic industry, adhesive industry, food industry, and there are several other miscellaneous uses of lac. So that is why sometimes we call lac, there are lakhs of uses of lac. Then I will be talking about some of the technologies which can be utilized for becoming entrepreneurs. So these are some of the technologies which have been developed by our institute. This is improved lac-based wood varnish, then lac dye, small scale lac processing unit, then lac-based paint, lac-based fruit coating varnishes, then foot coating with the natural alpha, nail polish, lac wood varnish, then lac glaze that can be utilized on other metals also, shellac gasket compound, shellac based dental plates, then bleached lac, decolorized, de-waxed lac, allutic acid and isoamberochloride. These are some of the products or lac based processes which can be utilized for generating income. So before coming to that industrial part, I would like to just highlight how these things lac is processed for value addition. So initially when we harvest lac, it is called stick lac. Then it is scraped from the twig, and what we get is scrapped lac. This scrapped lac is then crushed and washed, it becomes seed lac. From this seed lac, through hot filtration, we can get shellac. Then solvent process, we can get de-waxed shellac. Then bleaching and acidification, you can get bleached lac. And hydrolysis and acidification, you can get allutic acid. So these are some of the basic steps which you need to know if you want to do this entrepreneurship development in the lac-based industries. So normally in lac growing areas, what happens that farmers, they grow lac and sell it in the market without processing it. So basic disadvantage of this process is that they don't get the good price, number one, and they cannot store it over a period of time. Because if you want to store lac, you have to process it first, then store. Otherwise, its quality will deteriorate. So some of the farmers, they can use this small scale processing unit, and just like atta chakki in villages, you can establish one lac processing unit in each village, and just by charging say around 10 to 15 rupees per kg processing charge, you can convert the stick lac into seed lac and give back to them. So by this process, you are not only earning money, you are providing employment generation also, and farmers also get their processed lac, and if they don't want to sell it, they can store at their house also. So this means they will not be exploited. Similarly, nowadays you see a lot of fruits in the market, shining fruits. So they are mainly coated with wax coatings. So 80% of the fruits which are available in the market, they are coated by wax, mainly synthetic wax. So that is not good for health. We have developed lac-based coating formulation because lac is good for health, and it is biodegradable, and it is eatable also. It don't have any adverse impact on our health. Rather, it improves our health if you eat it. So this lac-based fruiting we have developed for quinoa, that is citrus fruits, pomegranate, and these are some seed spices, cumin and coriander, dhania and jeera. So mainly what happens that when you store these seed spices, a lot of parasites, stored grain parasites, they affect the quality. By application of this coating, not only quality is improved, but parasitic attack is also reduced. Similarly, some of the vegetables like brinjal, pointed gourd, ginger, tomatoes, and capsicum, we have developed coatings, and by using this scatology, not only this enhances the appearance of your vegetable and fruits, but shelf life of this vegetable and fruits is also increases almost to double. This means if you can store, say, a particular fruit in your house for 10 days, after coating, you can store it for 20 days. So basic advantage is that sometimes people don't get good price in the market on a particular day. So if you have coated your fruits, you can store it for a longer period of time and you can sell in the market once you get a better price. Then coming to lac-based varnishes, so especially lac glaze and non-spirit-based lac wood varnish and spirit-based lac wood varnish and air drying and baking type insulating varnishes. You can see them that just by applying these varnishes, you can enhance the appearance of wooden furniture. And in mainly electrical industry where high thermal resistance is required. So lac-based formulation, they have got high thermal resistance. So you can start making air drying and baking type insulating varnish. It has got good market in the industrial beds particularly. Then another is shellac-based emulsion paints. So most of the synthetic paints, they have disadvantage of that. They emit some volatiles and that is not good for health. Some of them are cancerous also. But lac-based, all good paints which are made from natural products, lac is one of them. So they are good for health and have better quality in comparison to synthetic paints also. Similarly, if you go to a dentist for replacing your teeth, he will take impression of your teeth on certain type of material. These are called dental plates. So we have prepared these dental plates, lac-based dental plates. So they have also good market in medical field, where dentists can use this. Then we were talking about these fruit coatings. Fruit coating lac utilized is mainly decolorized de-waxed lac and bleached lac. These are high quality processed lac prepared from the raw lac. And in pharmaceutical industry, in food industry and vegetable and fruit coating, these are the two types of lac which are mainly utilized. And by making this bleached lac or decolorized lac, income of around 1 lakh rupees per month you can generate by simple small scale unit. Similarly, we get lac dye from lac insect in process, and this lac dye is of biodegradable nature, and we call it food grade lac dye. So this food grade lac dye not only it can be utilized in foods, but it can be utilized for coloring woolen and silken clothes also. Particularly in Western countries, they don't like synthetic dyes for dyeing textile purpose. So their synthetic dyes are being replaced by natural dyes, and lac is one of them. So this lac dye also has got huge potential for entrepreneurship development. Then there is one product we get from lac. It is called aluritic acid. So from this aluritic acid, we prepare another compound which is called isoamretolide. This isoamretolide is a base compound for perfumery industry. The perfumes which we are using or which are available in the market, to keep their fragrance for a longer period of time, you require certain preservative. And this isoamretolide, it acts like a preservative. And the quality of scent, not only quality, but its life also increases. So France imports a lot of isoamretolide and aluritic acid from our country for use in perfumery industry. Then lac wax. We have prepared one plant growth regulator from lac wax also, and we have filed one patent and obtained one patent also. And it acts as a very good plant growth regulator. We have utilized on this polycasinol on wheat as well as on fenugreek also, and we have got very good results. The basic advantage of using this is, number one, this is natural. Number two, the quantity required for use is much lower. Say if synthetic PGR is required 250 mm and 1000 ppm, the same effect can be generated by using 250 ppm quantity of the plant growth regulator prepared from the lac polycosan. Then these days, plastic is being discouraged, use of plastic. And particularly for food packaging, you will see that paper packets are coated with plastic coating from inside, so that there is no leakage of liquid from those packets. Now we have prepared this material for paper packaging based on lac. So instead of plastic, you can use lac based prepared this plastic material. It will be not only good for health, but it will also replace the use of plastic from the packaging material. Then glass flowers. We prepared herbal gulal from the flowers of Butea monosperma. So we all know that most of the holy colors are oxidized metals, and they are not good for our eyes. So this material is not only good for health, it don't have any adverse effect on our health, but it also is a source of employment generation. So based on these, some of the examples which are available in our country, then one startup, Indoleka, he started lac-based industry, and now he is generating more than 1 lakh rupees per month. Similarly, one young entrepreneur established lac processing industry in Balaghat, MP, and his turnover is now more than 20 lakh rupees per annum. And he also got Entrepreneurship Award 2019 from Ministry of Skill Development. Similarly, the person who was earlier working in shellac, he started making allutic acid instead of shellac, and his income increased by almost 2 times. So these are some of the examples which will help you or motivate you in developing industries, lac-based industries or entrepreneurship which are based on lac. Then coming to conclusion, that cultivation of lac, it offers excellent opportunities for income generation activities. And since lac insects are cultured on host trees, promotion of lac and its culture help in ecosystem development. It has got huge potential for entrepreneurship development. Then you can increase the income of farmers also if they start value adding on their farm also. And just by providing skills to the rural youth, unemployed rural youth, they can be given this training for establishing their own entrepreneurs, and based on these products, they can start running lac-based products. So thank you very much for your kind attention.